Daily Ascent. I'm Molly Carmel, and this is the podcast I always wish existed. A bite-sized, on-the-ground spiritual note that can shift your thinking and your outlook on life to help make us all a little bit more awake, alive, and ascending. So today I want to talk about something a friend of mine just said to me that was such a little aha moment about something I thought I already understood, but boy, did I need a little refresher on it about saying no and the stories that we tell ourselves that we need a big, huge story to explain it. So my friend was over and she was just tanked. Oh my goodness. Not tired in a regular way, just depleted. And she realized she had been saying yes to everything for weeks. Plans, obligations, commitments, they just piled up on her calendar. And it looked like this wall that was like dysregulating her nervous system, and her nervous system was running on fumes. And she knew it. And she could feel it in her body. But she also felt completely trapped by it because she had said yes to all of it. And now it was all there, lined up, waiting for her. And then this thing happened that shifted her entire life and sort of mine, and I hope yours. She told me that that particular weekend, she had plans with a friend, dinner plans with a friend, and that friend had called and canceled. And the friend had called and canceled without any real explanation. No elaborate apology, no long text about why and what happened and how sorry she was, just like, hey, I can't make it tonight. I'll miss seeing you. And my friend said she had this like spiritual moment, like this shocking spiritual moment. Not because she was upset, by the way. She was actually relieved because she had a night off and she could just chill. But because she realized that she had understood something that she had never understood before. And that is that you're just allowed to cancel, that you're just allowed to cancel without a reason. And it was like a whole new world opened up for her. And honestly, I got it. I knew exactly what she meant because I know this pattern from the inside. The feeling that if you're going to say no or cancel or change your mind, you owe someone like a short novella, right? You owe them a full accounting, a good enough reason, something that will hold up under scrutiny. And if the reason isn't airtight, like if it's not a really good reason, even though I think these are good reasons, but if you're tired or you just need some downtime or space, or like you just don't want to go, you'd better apologize pretty thoroughly for that and maybe even have like a white/gray lie to go with it. And today's reading is a pocket sage we've never had before, Nedra Tawwab. She wrote a book called Set Boundaries, Find Peace. It's a rather recent book, I think in the last 5 years. And she's a therapist and she is so great at talking boundaries, like so great. She has a great Instagram, highly encourage it. And she just helps us learn that it's not only okay to have needs, it's like very necessary. So anyway, highly recommend this book. And here's what she says. The hardest thing about implementing boundaries is accepting that some people won't like, understand, or agree with yours. Once you grow beyond pleasing others, setting your standards becomes easier. Wow. Let me read that again for those of you in the back row. The hardest thing about implementing boundaries is accepting that some people won't like, understand, or agree with yours. Once you grow beyond pleasing others, setting your standards becomes easier. I mean, once you grow beyond pleasing others, right? Not once you stop caring about people. Once you grow beyond pleasing others. Not once you become indifferent to how they feel, right? Just once you grow beyond making their comfort the organizing principle of your life. That's when boundaries and standards become easier. And that's when the no becomes really available. And so our word of the day today is boundary. And I want to define it really simply. I think boundaries can get really, really overcomplicated. I mean, there's probably like a multi-million-dollar industry on helping you set boundaries. So here we are. A lot of people think that a boundary is a wall and like a steel wall, right? And like it's confrontational and it's a declaration of war in a way on the people in your life. Not true. Not true at all, right? It can be much softer, right? It can just be a quiet, honest, short statement of what you can and what you cannot do right now. That's it, right? I can't make it tonight. I need to rest this weekend. I just don't have capacity for it right now. Simple, human, true, short. And the reading is really saying that the hardest part of a boundary isn't saying it. In my experience, it's tolerating that someone might not understand it, might not like it, might not agree with it. And so these elaborate explanations that we offer, or just kind of going against every grain of what we actually need in our own self-care, right? So these long texts, these apologetic voicemails, these really well thought out, careful justifications, those are not for the other person's clarity. They're for our own anxiety, where we're trying to preemptively manage their disappointment so we don't have to sit with the discomfort of having let someone down or possibly let someone down. We don't even know if we're letting them down, and we're spending so much energy on it. Am I right? And honestly, in my experience, most of the time, the other person is fine. Maybe disappointed, but like, isn't that good that they're disappointed that they're not going to be spending time with you? I mean, they shouldn't be completely okay with it. But in my experience, most of the time, people understand more than we feared. You don't have to prevent everyone around you from ever feeling disappointed. That's not your job. Your job is to keep the focus on yourself and take care of yourself. And so here's what I want us to think about today. The story that you need a good enough reason to say no is not a truth. It's a bad habit. And I think it might be costing you something real, real, real. And I just want to name one more thing that I think gets missed in this boundaries conversation. Over explanation is a form of apology. And so when we're writing this long text and over justifying and offering three reasons where one would do, we're essentially apologizing for having a limit, right? And we're saying sorry before anyone has even asked us to be sorry. We're treating our own need for rest or inability to show up for something as something that requires a penance, as if being a person with a finite amount of energy and time and capacity is an offense that needs to be forgiven. And what I've noticed personally and in my life is that this over explanation often makes things worse, not better, because it invites negotiation and it signals that our no is soft and that if someone pushes back with the right argument, there might be room that we're going to change our mind. Where a simple, warm, clear, I can't make it, leaves very little room for the conversation to spiral. And I just want to say, because I have worked on this particular thing for, at least 15 years, probably longer. And I didn't expect this one thing to happen when I started practicing this. Sometimes, if you're someone who is like hyper vigilant about keeping the commitments and saying yes and going because you said yes and overscheduling and all of that, and I am recovering from that imperfectly, sometimes the other person, when you cancel, is actually relieved. I remember when I first started this, it was in the very beginnings of my recovery, so I guess close to 17 years ago now. I canceled dinner plans with my friend Rob. We had 7 o'clock dinner plans. I was healing from an eating disorder. At that time, eating that late put me at risk. And I just said to him, I'm so sorry I can't do dinner at 7. I'm really sad I can't make it. And I remember because I had to like work with someone like who was helping me learn how to live a new life. And we really like scripted that. And I remember it so well because he texted me back and he wrote, "Oh my God." He wrote, "Thank God. I just thought you always showed up no matter what. And it really made me feel awful whenever I needed to cancel." And I was like, holy wow. This performance of always being available wasn't just exhausting me, it was putting pressure on him too. So my simple human, no explanation needed cancellation gave both of us permission to be real. And I think that's what happened to my friend. Like, she was like, oh, so you can just say no to something, and that's that. And she felt such a nervous system calm down too. And that's what the reading is saying also, right? It's about growing beyond pleasing others. And I want to sit with that word, growing, because it is not a switch you flip. If you struggle with what we are talking about today, it is 3 steps forward, 1 step back sometimes. It is a practice. It is something you develop over time, imperfectly, through accumulated experience of saying no and surviving the discomfort of it. I am living proof of that, right? And we start to notice that the world doesn't end. And we start to notice that people don't leave. And we start to notice that our relationships, the ones worth having, can hold a simple, I can't make it, without falling apart. Ain't that a kick in the head? You're allowed to say you just can't make it, and that is enough. And honestly, it's always been enough. Wild. So your reflective question for the day: what are you over-explaining right now that actually just needs a simple and honest, I can't make it? And I am right here with you, Ascenders. I am right here with you, learning to let I can't make it be just enough, one quiet moment at a time. And please, can you help me grow our Ascender crew? Can you like this? Can you subscribe? Can you send it to a friend? Can you post it on your Instagram? You know, the more, the merrier, because we rise together. Until next time.